Thank you very much. That was quite lovely. I'm really happy to be here. If you saw me giggling, it's because the folks that raised their hand who've heard me speak before, you all are sitting in front really close. If you haven't heard me before, you're sitting back like, well, I don't know, maybe a little. It's all good. It's all good. Nite Skool. I've never actually given a public talk about it before because you'll find out why. I've also not taught it in 6 years. It's been a long time since I've taught it. But it is how I'm able to know, it's how I'm intuitive. It's how I'm able to pick up information from people. So if you've had sessions with me, people start here anyway calling me a body language intuitive. And I do tell people that yes, I read body language. But what I'm doing is I'm accessing the life that we all share. That's probably the best way to put it. Nite Skool is how we all connect, and it's how we're all connected. It's just a name I give it. We're actually all connected through alpha waves. You've heard of brain waves? It's all about the speed of your brain waves. And when you feel like you are you, and the world is out there outside of you, and you're an individual unit, your brain waves are moving kind of fast. And in that place, we can all feel kind of lonely and depressed. I mean, that's like the typical place we find ourselves in when we wake up in the morning. But even in that place, you think of a friend, and then the phone rings, and it's your friend calling you that you just thought of. Or you think of somebody you haven't seen in 10 years, and you're like, oh, I really wish I could run into them, and then you turn the corner and there they are. Has that happened to anybody here before? Mm-hmm. So everybody's aware of Nite Skool, yeah? No synchronicities ever in your life, little ones? My teacher was born left brain dead. And his parents just thought he was disabled and really didn't pay him much mind until one day he healed his older brother of a fractured arm. And I may have heard this story before, but a lot of people in the back haven't heard it. So my teacher, Patrick, his brother, who was I think 8 years old, fractured his arm, and Patrick at the age of 5, without being able to speak, was able to look at his brother's arm and see where it was broken, and then he grabbed his brother's wrist and twisted it to reset the bone. His mother freaked out, drove him to the hospital in a panic. The doctor x-rayed John Paul's arm and said, oh, it's perfect. Who said it? I can't do anything about this, it's perfect. His mother realized that he was a healer, and so started driving around the reservation every weekend, to heal people. People would call up and say, hey, can Patrick, come here on Sunday to see my aunt, she's in bed, blah, blah, blah. And that's what he would do on the weekends. That started at 5. At about age 9, he learned how to jumpstart his brain. And so he started being able to speak and started being able to understand words. And then he was, I think, 10 or 11 when he met Jose Silva. Have you heard of Jose Silva? Silva Mind Control. Mm-hmm. So Patrick was a guinea pig for Jose Silva. And Patrick had a lot of fun with that. And so Patrick essentially helped Jose Silva develop Silva Mind Control, which is now Silva Ultra Mind, I think. I've seen it advertised on Facebook recently. I think Jose Silva's dead, so I don't really know who's putting it out now.
Vishen McCartney, isn't it? From Mind Valley.
I've watched his spiel and I really had to laugh because he's so concerned about projecting himself as like powerful and strong and good enough and like all this stuff. I'm like, if you believe that, you wouldn't have to project it so much, would you? Like, what's going on here? So yeah, his program takes a year and he charges $400 or something. And it's I don't know what he does. I didn't get that far into it. So. I never did the Jose Silva program. It's just not my thing because I learned it from Patrick. I learned it from Patrick at his house, and I also did it, in a live class. What the meditation does is it slows down our mind so that you can tap into the slow place where we all are. So there's always a little sliver of us with alpha waves happening. There's always that sliver. That's why you know when your friend's going to call you. Right? It's probably why your dog knows when you're going to come home too. Like dogs tell when their owner's coming home from like 2 miles away or something ridiculous. The only thing the Nite Skool meditation really does is it slows down all of your brain waves so that you're fully immersed. And when you're there, it creates a connection wherein you can receive information wherever you put your attention. Make sense? Mathematically? Any questions? All right, so the rules I have for my talks are generally don't hold on to your questions. If I say something that makes no sense or makes you mad or anything else, definitely let me know and raise your hand and ask your questions. Because like I said, I've not given this talk ever before publicly. And I'm not even taught the class in 6 years. So I'm not sure what to deliver and what not to deliver. So if I skip over something, then you need information, make sure you ask. So what I want to show you today, I can't really give you the meditation today because we don't have time, because the meditation itself, it's not for tourists. You can't be a spiritual tourist and think you're just going to put your toe in the meditation and see if it works and then pull your toe out. Can't do that. Once you learn the meditation, you can never forget it. You just can't. So it does create lasting change. But the lasting change it creates isn't that anybody you look at, you know all their secrets. It doesn't work like that. What it does is it helps you feel incredibly connected. And that sense of connection can never get taken away. But today, that's how you already access Nite Skool. The reason you knew your friend was calling is that you feel incredibly connected to them. And because you feel incredibly connected, information flows. That's one of my greatest contributions to humanity. When we feel connected, we are sharing information. And when we are sharing information, we are connected. That's my big contribution to humanity. Yes.
Is it possible that we're more connected to some people than to others?
Yes.
Why might that be?
Because a big part of us is moving really quickly, trying to keep ourselves safe. Because I'm here and you're there. I gotta make sure I'm safe. So there's a bit of a distance and a wall, and it's just a safety feature that we think we need to have. But people who you feel really connected to and loving with, you don't need that wall. You don't need the separation. You feel at one with them. And because you feel at one with them, you literally are at one with them. And the evidence of that is that you share information. They know when you're going to call them too. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So the amazing thing that's, I think what's really cool about Nite Skool is, what we're doing when we learn the meditation is we're just taking that unconscious thing that happens, that it just happens sometimes, we don't know why. Now you know why, whether you believe it or not. You can take that and just let it apply to everything. Be connected all the time. Nite Skool is Patrick has a record at one of the casinos in Las Vegas for the most number of jackpots on a single machine. And he told me he just sat there in night school, and the whole time he was there, the machine kept telling him, no, I'm going to pay off more, I'm going to pay off more. And so he said, okay, I'll keep playing, get in more and more. And then eventually the machine stopped saying it was going to pay off. And so he said, okay, I'm done. And he looked behind him, and they had cordoned off the machine, and there was a crowd, and they offered him the machine. If you want it, you can take it home. We're taking this off the floor. We're not letting anybody play this machine anymore. But it also helped him when he bought his car. He used to live in Laguna Beach, and he was driving by a dealership, and he saw a black Porsche. And Patrick was really into the Rat Pack. He was really like looking clean and crisp and having nice stuff. And he saw the Porsche. Oh, cool! And he walked in and said, "How much for the Porsche?" And when he did, he asked the guy out loud, but he also asked him in Nite Skool. And in Nite Skool, it was 20,000 less than what the guy said out loud. But Patrick knew what the guy's real number was. So he's like, look, if you can get to this number, and gives the guy the real number, I'll buy it right now. The guy's like, okay. He also worked in contract negotiations with movie studios. He was he's like friends with Sharon Stone and some other Hollywood bigwigs. And he would help people tune in. He said the main problem people have in negotiating with others is that when you go in for a negotiation, it feels like a competition. And when there's competition, it feels like there's the other. And that sense of the other disconnects, takes away the sense of connection. And so you don't know what they're willing to give up in order to get what they want, and they don't know what you want. And so he said these negotiations in Hollywood can go all day and drive people crazy. So he started teaching people how to do Nite Skool. And before the meeting even starts, people tune in and just ask in Nite Skool, okay, what's the bottom line? Find out what it is, and then when the people would walk in, they would just like say, look, I'm willing to do this, this, and this, this. We take it, and end of negotiation. He said negotiation time went down like 90%. Has a lot of value in lots of practical ways. Its most valuable piece, though, is simply in being able to feel connected at any time. Because when we get depressed, when we feel sad and lonely, like what's the first thing that happens? We're feeling disconnected, right? We feel like we're the only ones and no one gets us, and even God turned his back. I mean, it just like feels awful when we're in that place. When we're in that place, it perpetuates because it feels unsafe, and so we turn on our safety mechanisms, which speeds up our brain waves, which makes us feel more apart. Nite Skool teaches us how to consciously reverse the feeling of disconnection anytime it comes up. So even if you get really mad at your best friend and you feel like you don't want to see them for days, you get that sense of disconnection, you can use Nite Skool to sort that out and feel reconnected again. Who's had body language sessions with me? Do you ever wonder how I could get so specific with your history? I mean, I've been really specific with people before. I don't want to mention anything that happened in this town because you'll know who I'm talking about. But I once worked on a person and I put my hand on her stomach, and what came out of my mouth was, "Who's George?" And her whole body relaxed. She's like, "Oh, George has been bothering me. He's my ex-boyfriend. He's been harassing me, calling me on the phone and doing all this stuff." And she's like, "Oh, wow, that's what's making my body tight." Nite Skool, you can get very specific. Very.
Use it for animal communication.
You can, but you can use it for anything. So, the learning Nite Skool is actually really easy. It does not take a year. Like, what's his name? Whatever. The current Silva thing is nonsense, I think, because it doesn't take that long. Nothing should take that long. I can teach Nite Skool in 5 minutes. I could literally teach you all here tonight. and we can take a vote on if we want to learn it or not. You can't unlearn it. You might not want to learn it. It's got to be like everybody wants to be in. What you can't get, what I don't have time to give you tonight, is all the details for how to control it. Because, you know, you do get triggered. The first time you really feel connected to the rest of the world, it's pretty easy to make yourself wrong for all the times you felt disconnected in the past. You suddenly realize those are all false. Those are all misperceptions and illusions. You suddenly realize, oh, I was connected the whole time. It can make you feel bad. Don't have time tonight to explain you how to get yourself out of that. I don't have time to explain, you know, how to interpret the results that you're getting in Nite Skool. So that's why, if you'd like to learn the meditation, come to the class on Friday. You're going to get all the details for how to use it in a safe way that doesn't send you out being ungrounded. But I will give you some tips and tricks tonight for how to access Nite Skool in ways that you already do, that don't involve learning meditation and don't involve a huge leap into connection. Is that a question or no? Okay. Any questions at all? Any comments? I did not prepare this, and I did that specifically because part of my job is to show you what it's like to live in the present moment without any thoughts or concerns about the future or past. So I decided to come up here without a script. Any questions? Yes?
Can you tell who's connected right now? Without naming or shaming, is it a gauge type thing? If you're connected, can you tell who else is connected visually?
Yeah, but it's not visual, it's a sensation in my body.
Okay.
Yeah. And this, you know, I call it Nite Skool. It's not different than other ways of connecting. It's just the name I give it.
Sure.
Yeah, I was walking through a huge festival in California a few years ago, and I was away from my friends, so I decided just to start loving up the festival, and I just started loving myself and loving that I was there and loving the crowd and just like, you know, just loving, because people are so judgmental, you know, it's good to bring balance to the world, like just love it. And all of a sudden I felt like looking over there, so I look over there, and when I look, there's a Swami looking at me, and he gives me a big bow, you know, so he could totally feel that I was connected. And I could totally feel him, obviously. It made me look. So does that answer it? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you can, and the other thing is when you're in Nite Skool and you really do feel the connection, yeah, you can, there's levels of connection, but then there's a point that you hit where it's just plugged in, like that Swami guy. Like there's like, you know, he's connected to the blades of grass and the ants and the sun and everything. You know, he just is feeling everything going on. That's not the place I'm at all the time. He picked me out of the crowd though. I mean, walking up and down.
That's good. Can I ask you a second question?
Yeah.
It might only be interesting to me.
Yeah.
So you can notice it.
Yeah.
Does your noticing someone's level affect the other person? Like, is there an entrainment?
I think that's what happened with him.
Right.
Because he noticed me and I felt his energy, and so I looked, you know, like, the thing is when we're connected, we're sharing information. There's energy going back and forth. So yeah.
Right. So it's not just like levels on a bar, you would affect other people.
Yeah, it's sharing information. So if I walk up and down High Street feeling people's connection level, like yeah, there's people who are like totally fake putting on a show, playing dress up, and there's people who like really are connected and loving. Like there's definitely both. And if you don't feel connected yourself, you won't be able to feel the difference. Because there's no information being shared on that level. That's really the joy of being in Nite Skool, is you know exactly what's really going on. You can tell if that person's being nice just because they want to get in your pants, or because they want a job, or if they're being nice because they're bored and they like being nice. Like some people, that's just how they are. They like being nice. It's pretty fun. Yeah.
When
Yeah, go ahead.
you're talking about connection, do you feel it's the heart connecting? Or one love, one heart? Like God and soul? And are you connecting on all levels?
You know, all levels is a pretty big
expansion of.
You know, I don't know how far all goes.
No.
It's okay. I'm trying to figure out how to answer that, because is it a heart connection? It depends what you mean by that. Because I feel a connection, I feel it everywhere in my body, not just in my heart. And when I feel connected, it's not a romantic love,
Don't mean
but it's also not necessarily unconditional spiritual love. It's just connection. You know, the idea of this type of connection is love, and this other type of connection is friendship, and this other type of, you know, connection is acquaintanceship or whatever. That distinction doesn't really happen when you're in Nite Skool. In Nite Skool, you just feel connected. So I can tell you that what's really nice about Nite Skool is that it only works for win-win. It only works if both parties are getting benefit. So Patrick told me that anytime he saw, you know, when he was single, if he saw a pretty girl and he was interested in her, he would like go into Nite Skool and like have Nite Skool sex with her. Thinking that then when he met her in person or talked to her in person, that they would feel more connected. He said it never ever worked. It was always just his own like fantasy. So you can't use it, you know, to make somebody else lose.
Not manipulate.
You can't use it for manipulation. If you're trying to manipulate somebody, that means they're the other. They're separate from you. So there's no information being shared. And then it's just ego fantasizing. It's a lot of, you know, I use it for healing because when I'm connected, I can find the information the person's holding that they're not aware of. And it's a win for them to hear it, because then you can let it go. Like, oh, that's what I'm holding on to. Whew. Thank God. That's a beautiful thing. Yes, Dave?
It's probably something very obvious, but it's worth saying. What are you connecting to?
What are we connecting to? Interesting, huh? What if there's only one? There is nothing to connect to in reality. The word connection implies that there's two, right? With something going on between them. But that's the big cosmic joke. There's only one. There's nothing to connect to. You're either plugged into one and you're connected and getting information, or you're not plugged in and you feel separate and alone. Like that's basically the two ways there are of being. Now, most of us learn to meditate because in meditation you can slow your brain down and start to feel connected and start to feel that oneness. Nite Skool simply takes all the details of that ego makes us blind to and just kind of opens the door. Yes, Dave?
Well, just on that, I feel that it isn't quite as cut and dried as you just said. That there's ultimately we are a whole range of interconnected or non-interconnectedness. So as you said about the Swami, for example, and about your feeling towards him, there are two different things going on there. You could maybe assess where a Swami's at, but you don't know that for certain. You don't really know for certain where anyone else is at.
I had no idea what I was feeling when I looked. I
Sure.
just felt like looking.
But in that, there's a whole range of things happening. There's your sense of connectedness and somebody else's sense of connectedness, and a scale we have no measure of. So from my striving, if you like, my interest is to become as connected as I can while I'm here with the planet itself, with the Earth, and I can sort of measure my day through that, how consistently I've stayed in contact, how consistently I've stayed in the mind of the thing that I'm surrounded by.
Yeah.
So in that there is something to connect to, in a sense, that is outside of us, even though obviously we are all of this place, so therefore we are one with it.
But when you connect,
in and out of connection is what I'm saying, I think.
but when I don't mean to say but, I mean to say and, when you feel connected, you really feel at one, don't you?
high degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, before we feel connected, we yearn to connect with that thing over there. And then once we're connected to that thing over there, it's no longer over there, now we're one with it. It's a sense of unity, which is different than a sense of connection. It's not like, I want to say two Legos snapping together, that's not right. But it's a little shift in perspective when there's the other, whatever it is, a person or place, whatever, if it's over there and we see connection from A to B, there's this idea of connecting two things that are separate. But once we're a part of that and we are connected, then it's at oneness. It's different than connection. It's being at one. I've been working on a third semester at my school with some natives. It's the tribe that I live near is one of the few tribes that still controls their ancestral lands. We've been there for at least 20,000 years on the same plot. And I'm in Nite Skool. When I drive in Nite Skool. There's like no way I would ever drive not in Nite Skool. So I want to know what's going on. And as soon as I get into the reservation, you can just feel it. You can just feel it. Everybody's in Nite Skool. You can just feel it. Like that's just where they live. They're connected to the earth. They are the earth. And I'm feeling this as I drive in, and then I get the visual confirmation when I look at the cemetery. The cemetery is only about as big as this room. It's full of stones, full of flowers, full of plants, all these colors everywhere. It obviously gets tended every day on a reservation that is very, very poor. But that's people living in Nite Skool, living in Alpha State, living at one with their ancestors and with the land, and honoring their ancestors, not because it's their tradition, but because they still feel connected and they want to maintain that connection and the sharing of information. That honoring they give their ancestors is about getting information from their ancestors. It's about sharing information. Drive back to my town. I live in Eureka, California, which is a real armpit of the world. But I left Hoopah, came into town, went the back way, because I wanted to see the cemetery that I live near. And our cemetery, it's huge. 10 times the size of this room. But it's barren, the grass is all brown, there's no flowers on any of the tombstones, and there's a 6-foot chain link fence around the whole place, and no one's allowed in. And I have been living in Eureka. We bought a house and moved there in October of 2021. So it's been 2.5 years. And they've still never opened the gate. I've never seen anybody in there. There's just, like as a Westerner, right? White Westerner in Eureka, people don't have any connection to the land or to their ancestors. There's no feeling of connection even to each other. It's a huge difference. It's not just a cultural difference, it's the way that we be and the way that we feel connected to each other. So my third semester is about diving into that earth religion and learning how to connect and feel what's going on with the earth energies around us. So, yes, Sidika.
How or does this connect to David Hawkins' work with the levels of consciousness?
I don't know David Hawkins.
He did a lot of work, and he was kind of muscle testing people to basically assess kind of what level they're at, if you like. And so there's like different emotions and things have different vibrations and things, then you get up to line and So I was just curious if, because we're talking about, well, there is no scale, but according to David Hawkins, there is a scale, if you like, of connection or love. I just wondered if you were familiar with that or.
So here's what I'll say. The natives, of course, they do not think that what's wrong with us is that our brainwaves are too fast. That's not how they think of the situation. They don't think of it in those terms at all. To them, it's a question of time. We all live in time. They don't. They think it's hilarious that we live in time. Really, I mean, it's just like they just giggle and laugh because we're stuck in time. It's that funny. We're always worried about what's going to happen next.
And it doesn't exist, then
And it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But when we're in time, we're always measuring and comparing to make sure that that thing is going to be good enough. And if it's not, then we change what we do so that in the future we are going to get that thing that we're always looking for that. And it's what distracts us from really feeling connected. So it's kind of a cosmic joke. If you're measuring and comparing, you're stuck in time. And so if he's measuring and comparing levels of consciousness, he's missing the point. Because when you're not in time, like I meet you, I meet you, I meet you, yeah, we all have different levels of consciousness and awareness and things we can share and whatever else. But what matters is what's happening right now. Like I want to shake your hands, it's really good to see you today. Like nobody else matters in the room. What matters is how I can connect with you right now. And when I go over here, I don't care anymore if she's more connected or less connected. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Yeah. Nite Skool takes you out of time. Time doesn't matter. Time does not matter. Time only matters when you're in it.
time's created by space, isn't it? Which is
made by movement.
Yeah.
It's made by the measuring and comparing of movement.
Yeah.
The ball was there, and now it's there. And watching it move over there creates time. But if you don't have attention on the ball, or if you just love the ball, you don't notice that it's moving. It's just a ball, whatever. So, these natives, I tried to show off with them. I'm like, well, I teach Nite Skool, and I used to teach a casino class and take people, because I used to take people to the casino. In New Jersey, when I first learned Nite Skool and figured this out, I went to Vegas, where Patrick lived, for 10 days, and he took me to the casino every day. And when I got home, I could manifest like nobody's business. I mean, I had 6 dice in my hand, and I could tell my friends, all right, here you go, 5 6s, and I'd get them. Like I was just like, my friends were just falling out of their bodies, melting at like what I could do. And so I said, I'm gonna start teaching a casino class, So I would take 5 people at a time to Atlantic City for the day, and I'd tell them, look, you're paying me $500, and you have to bring at least $200-300 with you to gamble with. The goal is you make the $500 that you're paying me, and then we're done. So it's a free class. That's the whole point, right? First group of 5 people I take there, one guy made $500 in the first 10 minutes, and he's like, yeah, I'm glad I brought my own car. He was so blown away he couldn't stay. He had to leave. But they all made the money. One woman made $1,500, and she was like, yeah, that's a good class, thanks. And then the next group I took, it was pretty much the same. But then the third group I took, this woman made $350 on like the second spin on the roulette wheel. I mean, it was just dumb. She's like, yeah, whatever. And she puts, I don't know what it was, like $10 on a number, and it hit, because she was at Nite Skool, and she's like, well, I'm gonna put on 2, whatever. Bang, and it hit. And she paid 36 to 1 or something. And she's like, okay, I get it, I'm done. And I was like, no, you have to make 500. That's how I advertise. I tell everybody that you make 500, you have to make 500, and she refused. She's like, no, I'm done, pretty good. So anyway, 19 out of 20 people made their $500 back. So after I taught it 4 times, Patrick found out I was teaching, and he's like, yeah, you can't be doing that. Don't go doing that.
So when you're working with the body,
Yeah.
is it the body talking to you, or the field in the body?
So those things aren't separate from each other.
Okay, yeah, it's just like,
And I don't, when I work on somebody, I don't look at them and think to myself, oh, okay, the mother hit them with an iron when they were 3. And then I say, okay, get on the table, and I find out what, and I say, did mother hit you with an iron when you were 3? Doesn't happen like that at all. I look at somebody, I feel the tension in my body where they're tight, and with the intention of finding out what's causing the muscle to be tight, I hold it and open my mouth. I have no idea what's coming out of my mouth when I open it. Never. I mean, like when I said, who's George, to that woman, I didn't know I was going to say that when I said it. I could just tell that she had all this going on in her stomach, so I wanted to touch it. It's like, God, what's going on here? Who's George? There's no, can't pre-plan Nite Skool. Yes.
Question about casino.
Yes.
I'm just curious, trying to understand what it is you're talking about.
Sure.
You said a moment ago, I could tell my friends I'm going to throw 6 sixes and I would get them.
Mm-hmm.
So are you manipulating reality?
No.
Or were you going to get those 6 sixes anyway and you just tuned in?
Well, that's a question that drove me crazy for a decade. So the answer is that when we're connected, we're sharing, and when we're sharing, we're connected.
Yeah.
So I was just connected to the universe
Yeah.
and telling the universe what I wanted the universe to deliver. And the universe said, okay, here you go. And that's literally the entire process. There's no secrets to it. It's about its intention, and then you wait, and you get the response back.
Okay, so it isn't just tuning into George.
No.
It's also, like, I don't know, manifesting, like cosmic ordering or...
My wife and I like to say that the universe lines up.
Yeah.
So we live our life feeling connected to the universe. Like that's just how we are. And which is nice because when we can all, is everybody aware of their personal space? Like how big it is? If you close your eyes, you can feel like how far your personal space goes out. For most of us, it's about our hand length. Huh? Right? So anything within your personal space, you have an absolute right to connect with and get information from. Like that's literally the definition of personal space. Like it's your sovereign right to not control, but to have information flow back and forth from anything in your personal space. Well, if you push your personal space out to cover the local neighborhood, then you can feel when the creepy guy's walking down the street a block away. You say, close the curtain, or whatever. But that's just setting an intention, putting our space out, feeling the space in Nite Skool, being connected, and just noticing what information comes, because it's in our personal space. We say the universe lines up because when we feel connected, and when anybody feels connected, you set an intention, the universe responds. The universe is not distinct from you. You created it. It's your baby. Yes.
It's not really a question, it's just something that's come up to me. I get a really strange sensation with places.
Mm-hmm.
So since I was a child, I might go somewhere, a town, an area, and I'm repelled.
Mm-hmm.
I do not want to be there at all.
Yeah.
I can't tell you why.
Oh, I can feel.
But it's like there's something wrong with the land.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
a
only
Nite
way
Skool
I
thing.
can
Yeah.
describe it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. It's,
Yeah. Well, you don't like it because it's triggering something in your body. What's getting triggered in your body is an old event that happened to you personally when you were a child, probably. And
What places I've never been.
well, the same similar thing also happened on that land to somebody else,
Oh, okay.
right? And you're picking it up.
All right.
So when you learn Nite Skool and you step out of time, you can see the world that you're at in the past or future,
Okay.
if you like.
But what about if you go to places like, you know, a concentration camp, or I once went to the place in Hastings. It's actually in Battle, where the Battle of Hastings happened.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel it.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
it feels
yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. No, it's nasty. The universe is 99.99999999999% empty, void, nothing. But it vibrates, right? And you know, when a location gets its bell rung, it rings for a long time.
Yeah.
And when we're in Nite Skool, you can feel that ring. And if you're a skilled healer, you can do something with it, or do, you know, who knows what. Because my wife and I feel connected to the universe lines up with us constantly. We're not very wealthy. I mean, it took me credit cards to get here, you know. But when we go shopping, we're very careful. You know, like when we want to buy new garden furniture, we're like, oh, okay, next week. Okay, finally, like, okay, let's go get the garden furniture. We go to the store, it's on sale. That happens every week. We don't eat a lot of steak. I mean, I'll buy steak once every couple months. Like, we just don't eat expensive food. But when we finally choose to go get it and go to the store, it's guaranteed to be on sale. And we used to laugh and high five in the store, you know, that we were saving all this money. And now it's just the usual. Like, we just know that, and here's the piece I'd like you to take home today. The way you find Nite Skool without doing the meditation is you notice the feeling in your body. So when it felt right for my wife and I to go to the store to buy the garden furniture, that's when we went to the store. And then we found out why it felt right to buy the garden furniture that day. It's because we were picking up from the universe that it was finally on sale. We didn't consciously know that it was on sale, but something was pulling us into the store that day. Yes?
Earlier, you said something to the effect that when you go to meet the natives, you go in Nite Skool. Do you go in and out of Nite Skool, or do you try to be in Nite Skool all the time?
When I learned Nite Skool, Patrick taught Nite Skool as a 1 hour class. I think it was 1 hour. No, it was one day. So I think it was noon to 6 or something. And when we took a break, when I was on break, I realized that I could create a Nite Skool heads-up display in my field of vision. So I just set an intention that, oh, I see Nite Skool right here. Like, I have a little screen. And I asked Patrick, like, is that okay? He's like, wow, you figured that out already? It's only been the past 2 hours. So I don't know if I am 100% immersed in Nite Skool. I'll just look at you when you talk to me. I'll be like, I don't know, you know, like I have to speed up to respond. So typically, if I'm doing healing work, for example, and I know like I've got to be like 3/4 in Nite Skool, but Brian, the person speaking to the person on the table, I've got to be my usual self. I can't be Nite Skool Brian. I've got to be able to understand what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
So, Nite Skool is a meditation that teaches you how to access alpha, so that when you set an intention, or you know, you can tune into something and get information from it. But what you're really learning is what it feels like to tune in and to connect. And once you really get in your body what it feels like to like really tune in and connect to something or somebody, you don't have to do the meditation anymore. You just tune in and connect because you know what it feels like. The meditation is just to teach you what it feels like. Once you know what it feels like, you don't have to do all the steps to do the meditation. And it's really quick. You just tell yourself, blue plate special, and you're in Nite Skool, or whatever. However you program yourself to do it. Ego's job isn't to mess us up or to make our friends mad. Ego's job is to keep us surviving in the best possible way that it knows. And once it figures out that survival is a lot easier and more fun when we have access to Nite Skool, it starts to support it. So that's the other part too. Yeah?
It sounds to me very similar to the law of attraction. The law of attraction kind of movement, which is very much based on using your imagination to create the reality that you want to attract.
Yes.
Would you say there's similarities?
Similarities, yeah, but you know, from what I know of the law of attraction, I'd say that works when you're in time. It's like that's just not that complicated. And maybe that's not the right way to put it. So, you know, there's imagination that the thing that we're choosing, and we set our imagination out to the universe, like use our imagination to tell the universe what we're looking to manifest. That's high. Oh, use the whiteboard, Dave. Thank you for the efforts. So high and low, high energy is out. It's also causative. It's also doing. It's also giving. So in Nite Skool, sending our intention or imagination out is causing an effect, and it's something that we do, and we're giving it, right? We're giving it to the universe, telling you, this is what I'd like. Low potential is energy in, it's effect, and it's being, and it's receiving. Now, like manifestation is on this side, right? You put your intention out, but then you have to slow down, be willing to be the effect. This is where it gets really hard for people. Most of us have egos that do not want to be the effect of anything. We want to be in charge of what we're affected by. And so when you put out to the universe, I'd like a new puppy dog, you know, and you put it out there, and then someone shows up with a dog you don't expect. Like, no, that's not the dog I ordered. Being means not running away. Huh? Being means not doing anything. And then receiving means letting it land. But letting it land can be difficult. We've all got great intuition. How many people have great intuition, but you don't act on it? 2 seconds later, you're like, oh man, I knew the roulette wheel was going to hit 0, or I knew that was going to be a parking spot, or whatever. Nite Skool helps you act on it, because when you're not in time anymore, you don't mind being the effect of things. When Nite Skool says, turn here for parking, you're like, okay, there's no debate. That's a thing that happens in beta waves when we're fast, is that we tend to debate. We want to make sure that the information we're getting is good enough before we act on it. And we're so busy trying to make sure that the information is good that by the time we act on it, it's too late. It's already time for the next spin on the wheel. Being in Nite Skool and being connected means being able to act on time. Yes?
It's kind of a version of the is this like? This is my mind. Because you use the word programming. So my mind is, I just want to check my own understanding to see how wrong I am.
Oh, sure.
So if I go to Nite Skool, you said something about it changes your programming. And then you access it, so you don't have to go through, it's not what you said, but you don't have to go through the same ritual, it's there.
Right, it's a ritual. The ritual is there to teach you how it feels. Once you know how it feels, you can skip the ritual.
So my is this like is, so kind of Ericksonian hypnosis and neuro-linguistic programming.
No, it's the opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm totally off that, actually.
Can you explain why it's the opposite? Because that's quite interesting.
Yeah, well, when I said programming, I mean I'm setting an intention for myself.
Yeah.
But those are also I can also undo those at any time, right? But that's different than hypnosis, where like someone else is setting the program for you. Maybe you're setting the program, but it's so deep that you can't undo it. It just changes how you see things. Yes, Sam?
Just following on from that question, I was just thinking remote viewing.
Yeah.
How similar is that technique?
So Nite Skool, you get to stay in your body, and you can use it for remote viewing. And you can. So I've used it for that. I accidentally bilocated once. I felt like a real schmuck. It was embarrassing.
Why? Sounds like a good story.
Well, it's a good story. So when I first started doing this and doing the healing work, I had friends across the country, and they heard I was doing this, and their cousin was like a total wreck, and they asked me to tune in and see if I could read the body language and give them some information. And so I went into Nite Skool, and I can't give you too much here, but instead of doing this, instead of connecting and simply being and letting information come to me, because they were like in such a panic, I decided to do this. So instead of going to Nite Skool and drawing information, I went to Nite Skool and jumped in this way. And when I did, the visuals were completely different than what I usually see at Nite Skool. Nite Skool, one of the reasons I wear orange is that when I meditate, everything is a shade of brown or orange. There's no colors. That's probably why I wear glasses. But this time it was full color. And I only did a couple minutes because when I jumped in, I saw my two friends, I saw their cousin, and they were like down below me, and then they all looked at me. And when they did, I went, and I went right back in my body, and they called me, and they're like, "We saw you!" And it's like, holy shit. So, I don't teach how to do that. If you figure out how to do that and you want to play that game, you can, but I'm not skilled in fixing you if anything wrong happens. Like, we really are one. And it's not just people are one, it's that you're one with the universe that includes everything. There isn't anything you can't do. But when you believe your limitations, when you believe that you're not enough, you get thrown into time, you get thrown into measuring and comparing to try to make it what you like. And when we start doing that, we start feeling separate. And pretty soon we don't feel the oneness anymore. We can't feel oneness if we're measuring and comparing. We can't feel oneness if we need that person to remain the other. I play poker. I love playing poker. It's fun. It's competition. Nite Skool gives me zero advantage at the poker table.
You don't
Zero.
cheat.
Huh?
You don't cheat.
I can't. No, cheating. No, it doesn't work. It's like shooting myself in the foot. If I, and I've tried, believe me. If I go into Nite Skool and I'm trying to read this guy's cards, I never get it right because I'm not doing it for his benefit. I'm doing it for mine. It is cheating. It's win-lose. It never works. It just shuts down, and then my poker game shot to hell because I just acted on something that wasn't real.
But what about the casino? I mean, that's lose for the casino, isn't it?
Yeah, I had lunch at Market House on Monday, 140 pounds while I was waiting for my burger. And then I went in there yesterday, 140 pounds while I was waiting for my steak. The experience, and you might not get it the first time. The experience was I go in, I put my money in the machine. Before I get to the machine, it already felt like it was gonna pay. it had that vibe that I recognized. So I go there, I hit one of the games because it's a multi-game, you choose which one. And when I hit this one game, my body went, ugh. And so I knew not to play that one. It's all about how it feels in your body. My body said no, just rejected it. It's just like if you meet a creepy guy and your body goes, ugh, I don't want to talk to you. It's the same thing. Tried another one, my body went, oh yeah, this is yummy. I'm like, okay, this is easy. £1 per spin, no problem. Ding, ding, ding. And then all of a sudden the jackpot, and I'm like, I yelped out, that was lucky. I was like, sorry. So I got some free food this week, that was nice. Yes.
You're talking about the importance of feeling it actually in your body.
Yeah, that's the key to everything.
Yeah, and when you've got a lot of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
then often that's the case that you can't feel so much.
Right.
So how does that? Because I mean I've done sort of programs and things, and
Right.
you know, and been a lot of myself included, and other people on the call saying, oh yeah, but I don't feel that, I can't feel that, and it's mainly because they've still got holding a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's, I've got an entire school based on this.
Yeah.
The school starts with removing traumas from the body so that you can feel your body language more. And then it moves into how to move energy.
Yeah.
Because this is about 1% of energy works. Right? Then you learn Nite Skool, and because you've already cleared your body out of traumas, Nite Skool is a little easier. But that's how I teach it online, because I can't hold people's hand through it online. I want to make sure you've already cleared your traumas out before you learn Nite Skool. When it's live, your traumas are going to get activated. It's totally cool. Like, that's part of the fun. Like when you first connect and you first recognize the at-oneness, it can be a little stressful. Because guess what? You suddenly realize you don't have any secrets. All those secrets you think you're just for you, keep in your pocket, nobody knows about. You suddenly find out you've been wearing them on your sleeve your whole life. It's a little stressful. So that's the reason the class is 5 hours and not just 30 minutes. Because it's going to take some time for some people to just like take in, like, whoa, this is like, he wasn't kidding. I am the universe. Or whatever. The main piece to know about Nite Skool, I am teaching Nite Skool on Friday if you can make it. And if you can't make it, just remember that it's about how it feels in your body at the end of the day. If something feels good, go with it. And if you're wrong, that's okay. You're going to learn something, and then it'll feel different next time. Yes?
How different is Nite Skool from psychic work? I do psychic development work, and I train as a medium as well, and I feel things in my body, but I mostly get images, and I also do healing work online, and I can often see the figure. It's a shadowy figure, but I get a sense of, I move my hands around, and I get a sense of where to put my hands.
Like a long distance Reiki kind of thing?
Yes.
Yes, I've done that before. I remember those days. Yeah.
So is that similar? Is
it similar to my experience of long distance Reiki?
Oh no, to Nite
Or
Skool.
to
What's the difference between Nite Skool and my experiences?
I really believe that when I say Nite Skool, I'm talking about being in that place of alpha and being in the at-oneness. And I consider that like the far spectrum of like being connected. So my experience of doing long distance Reiki healing and other things I've done, they were attempts at Nite Skool with strategies and coping mechanisms to get around some of the triggers that prevent Nite Skool from happening.
Right.
There's like some ritual, as I call it, a meditation, but you call it ritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
So it sounds from what you're saying as if what I've been doing is a precursor to Nite Skool.
that's how I perceived it when I learned Nite Skool. I was like, oh, this is what I've been looking for. Wow.
Right.
That's my experience. I've never heard anybody say different than that. But at the same time, there's always more. There's always a deeper play. You know, I don't win in the casino every time. I'm not always right when I work on people on the table. And I used to sometimes actually be wrong. I have the most dangerous job in the world. I really do. If I'm right, I can create miracles. If I'm wrong, people explode. I can lose my life. I gotta be careful. And that's a bit of an exaggeration. But it really does, you know, when we're being psychic and getting information, and if we let ego get in the way and start saying stuff that isn't real, the person listening to it who's open, hoping to hear real information, if it's not real, it lands totally wrong, and it's really triggering.
Yeah,
It's really like, what do you mean? I wasn't born a man? How can you say that? You know, like, or whatever it is. It's like, but I don't have that issue anymore because I don't measure and compare what I'm going to say before I say it. I just set an intention to be in win-win and deliver the information the person needs to hear. And here I go. I'm opening my mouth, and here it comes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people say, well, how did you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know I was going to say that. I mean, you know, sometimes later I can realize, oh, okay, maybe I knew the person had a hard time in boarding school because I could see the uniform or whatever, but that's after the fact. I never see it beforehand, figure out what it is, and then say it.
Do you find that when you say it,
it
feels different? Because I have a similar sort of experience, and I express what comes, but it feels kind of stronger, more emphatic. And even if somebody says to me, no, I've never experienced that, or that I disagree with that, I know that the information that I've given is correct. It's just they're not able to take it because that information has come from somewhere other than me.
And there's the difference, and this will explain what I meant before. So when we're in Nite Skool, there is no other. It's just at oneness. So it's impossible for you to get to that place that you just described, where they're saying one thing, you know, they know it's not true, and you feel like it totally is, but they're not ready to hear it. That's measuring and comparing. That's being in time, and that's being connected to this other over here. And that's the whole thing about psychic work is that, oh, you're learning to connect with that other person over there.
Right.
And Nite Skool's different. Nite Skool's, no, there is no other person. It's you being reflected back.
Right, okay, thank you.
So the reason I say it's not for spiritual tourists is that you can't go back from feeling connected, from feeling the at-oneness. It's an amazing, yummy place to be because there's no reason to be depressed once you're at one with the universe because the universe is you. Like, what are you going to be depressed about? Like, who cares? And, you know, you learn to manifest things. You learn to just think of things and they appear. You think of a friend and then, boom, here they are in the store. They call you on the phone, or you realize you're 400 pounds short to pay the rent. And you're like, oh, I better show up today. And then you kick a cigarette or a cigarette pack on the street, you pick it up and throw it away, and you realize it's got 400 pounds in it. You're like, oh, that'll pay the rent. Okay. That's happened to friends of mine before. They kicked trash and found money. The universe lines up in amazing ways when you are at one with it. And it lines up in ways to let you know that you are at one with it. In my second semester, after you learn Nite Skool, I teach you how to manifest. Teach you how to use your imagination to create the life you'd like, create things happening for yourself. It's all about setting an intention, being at one, and then getting out of the way. Because really, it's about communicating. At the end of the day, manifestation is about communicating. Telling the universe your choice, and then letting the universe respond, and then giving the universe a little gratitude. The universe loves gratitude. Like, it's a lot easier to give gratitude than money to the universe. You can't like just throw dollar bills off your roof and hope it takes care of your karma, you know? But that's literally the cycle. It's just like talking. Hey, how are you doing? You're doing good? Great. How we manifest. Tell the universe, I need bananas. Okay. The thing about manifesting is that it doesn't mean it's going to fall out of the sky. You tell the universe what you're looking to manifest, and then you listen. Sometimes the universe says, turn left here. Sometimes the universe says, you're going to have to pay for that yourself. And sometimes the universe says, go talk to Bob, he's got an extra one. And sometimes you turn the corner and there's the thing you're looking for. But how it manifests doesn't matter. Because you're not in time, right? Any questions? Anybody feeling silly? Anybody get triggered at all? Anybody get concerned? Anybody like to get on the table who's never been? Do you want to find out what I do? Do you want to see what this
Me?
is like? Yeah, you.
Not in
No.
front of everybody.
All right. Well, I'm doing sessions on Monday if you'd like to try it. Talk to FMC. This weekend I'm teaching the class that gets traumas out of your body so that you can feel your body language, and so that Nite Skool is a lot easier. Actually, everything becomes a lot easier. It's called The Play Shop. It's happening in Taunton, and it's happening in Shepton Mallet. If you take that class, you learn a meditation that resolves all of the traumas that your body's been holding on to since you were born. And it doesn't resolve it all this weekend. You learn the meditation that every time you get triggered, every time you feel like you don't belong, or you feel like, getting mad or whatever, you do this little meditation and it helps clear it out. And repeating this meditation every day over a few weeks or months, literally every day you do it, you feel a little bit of relief. After a few weeks, you just start feeling better about being alive. But after 5 or 6 months, you suddenly no longer have stress in your body. You just don't. You don't have any old stress in your body. And if you do, when you find it's easy to let go of. Who here's done the Play Shop already? I know Martin has. Martin has it. You have? And you? Oh, good. Still working on it? How far along are you? Not that far. You gotta practice every day. The thing about the Play Shop is it's also not for tourists. It explains to you why your body holds on to stress and traumas. There's no reason for your body to still get stressed out about that teacher that hit you when you were 10 years old, or that boyfriend that broke up with you unexpectedly, or that car accident 2 years ago, or whatever. Any old stress that still stresses you out today, it's not real. It's your imagination taking an old event, bringing it in time and to make you think about it. The Play Shop gets rid of all of those so that you can be here now and not have your mind get pulled back into your history. It's a really good class. It helps with Nite Skool, but to learn Nite Skool, you don't need to do the Play Shop first. You can learn Nite Skool, you can do the Play Shop later. That's how I did it. Patrick did not teach the Play Shop. I had to create that. He knew the information, but he didn't know how to put it together to teach it to people. So about 5 years, he kept giving me the information, trying to get me to figure it out, how to deliver this. So it took a long time. Patrick gave me the information for the Play Shop in 1998, 99. And it took me 14 years to get it together in a program that people could do without getting all triggered and mad and running away. Because that's what happened the first few times I taught it. People would get all triggered and be like, that's not gonna work. And they'd leave. So I had to figure out, I gotta teach people not to judge. Okay, first let's learn about not judging so you don't freak out. But there's, the Play Shop's been through a lot, and is it easy? Yeah? Okay, it's pretty easy. If you'd like to learn it, come this week, and there's information on the back table. But you don't need to do that before Nite Skool, but it certainly helps. You can also do any of my classes online. The good reason to do classes online is you don't have to worry about the guru effect. The people complained about that with me 20 years ago. Drove me crazy. I didn't know what they were talking about. Because those people that I took to the casino, they were so excited. They got their money back and they got to figure out how to do the casino. But they all told me that when they went to the casino without me, they felt clueless and couldn't do it. They needed to be in my aura and my energy and have me, you know, they had to witness me doing it and feel it in their body, what I had going on in my body in order to be able to do it. And once they went alone, they lost it. So I spent a solid decade trying to figure out what was going on with the guru effect. And so I believe if you take the classes online, you don't have to worry about that, you know, because there's nobody else's energy to mess with you. It's just you learning on your own. Yes?
Is that the Nite Skool and the play shop you can do online?
Yes. When you do them online, though, they come in a certain order. So the play shop's the very first class. Nite Skool is like the 6th class, maybe. But I'm here. They're fun to do live. If you do the class live, you get a big discount to do it online. Or if you choose to do it online, then you can get a discount to do it live next time I'm here. But I may not be back. The earliest I'll be back is December, but it could be a few years. I just had a baby. My wife did. I had a baby too, I guess. Persephone is 10 weeks old tomorrow, and I miss her. I want to go home, and she won't be able to fly till she's older. So if I come back in December, I'll be coming with my 4-year-old Bettina, who's here in September, and we'll leave Mom and Persephone at home for a week and do what we can. But I don't know how workable that really is. We'll see. She's only got maternity leave for another 3 or 4 weeks. So there you go. Yes?
At your Nite Skool on the 14th in Glastonbury,
Yes.
do you make many references to gambling in that?
Only if people ask. I only use the gambling stuff just to give examples, because usually people just perk up, you know.
It's just, yeah, I understand.
Yeah. It's not a gambling class, but I'll answer any questions anybody has. Yes, Sam?
Well, it's like, I was just thinking about people in the room who haven't been at your previous talks or the wing release,
Mm-hmm.
and how useful I found those to really deepen into what you're talking about. Specific, actually, the wing releases, but also the high and the low, because we did that whole evening in here where we had partner exercises about that, didn't we? And that was beautiful. I just wondered, I don't know if it's worth you saying a few things, because you talked about Patrick, saying a few things about your journey, although you might not want to go over it again, but and for people who haven't experienced the wing release, a quick sort of talk about that, or even a demo if anybody did eventually.
Sure. So I'll tell you my brief history. When I was 3 years old, I was told that I had a heart murmur that didn't go away, that was supposed to go away when I was 2. It was, so when I was 3, I was kind of hit with, oh yeah, there's a big problem with your heart, Brian. End of conversation. And then at 4, I was told again, and 5 and 6. When I was 15, the cardiologist told me I had 10 years left to live. And so I was not too happy about that. At the age of 6, 7, 8, I was physically and sexually abused in the neighborhood that I lived in by the French kids, because I was the odd American boy, and that scrambled me. So I spent most of my life overwhelmed, growing up with parents who were alcoholics and uninterested in connecting or talking with their children. A bottle of wine every night, sometimes 2. Their solution to things was to feed me alcohol. When I was like 6, I would get a glass of wine at dinner. So by the time I was 18, I was completely disconnected, didn't like talking to people, I could lay in bed for days, just not care. Hated my family. And I didn't really know what to do with myself. But when I was 15 and the cardiologist told me I had 10 years left to live, I realized there was no point in chasing girls or chasing a career. So I decided to chase spiritual knowledge. I started looking for teachers. And that was at 15. First teacher I met scared the bejesus out of me. She was I'm really grateful that I investigated what it was. She was an Aleister Crowley Wiccan with some rather far out ideas about what she should be doing with me and my body. And got out of that really quick. By the time I was in college, I had some friends. I think they tolerated me, but I never really connected with them and wouldn't really share like what I had going on. I realized at the time I thought I was just normal, but looking back now I realized that they knew that I was damaged and treated me in a way that I wouldn't find out, But yeah, I've gone from a place of rather dark place, thinking I was going to die and be all alone and life is going to suck forever, to I'm 57 now, so I made it. I healed myself and handled my depression. The nice thing about doing this work and getting the traumas out of the body with the play shop is that your traumas really don't bother you anymore. I've got the images in my mind of those kids abusing me, but there's no charge on them. 20 years ago, I would never share with anybody what happened, because if I started talking about it, I'd start shaking, start crying and freaking out. Because it's a total loss of power, powerless place. Tortured by the older kids, like locked in the elevator for hours in the dark, not knowing if it was going to fall and crash and smush me, when I was 6. It's just like stuff that's like stressful when you're a little kid, for sure. Good news is that those things are just pictures. The work I do doesn't change our memories. It doesn't get rid of memories. It gets rid of the charge on them. The angst that's like wrapped up in the memory. That horrible thing that happened. When that goes away, then it's just a memory, something that happened. And certainly those things that happened to me impact my life, but I'm not debilitated, I'm not depressed about it. And that's really what, that's why I teach this stuff, because my life has transformed so much that Patrick told me to start teaching. Many of my teachers just like take me aside and say, you gotta start teaching, man. Like, you gotta stop coming to classes, you gotta go teach. One time, so here's what Nite Skool's like. This is before I moved out here. Okay, so in about the year 2000, it was right before 9/11, when the planes hit the buildings, right? I'm working in a day trading office, trading stocks. And I suddenly had this intuition that I had to go to this Hindu temple in Berlin. I'm in New Jersey, and there's a Berlin, New Jersey. So I know I'm not going to Germany, right? I'm like, oh, there's a temple in Berlin? And I think I'd maybe heard of this before. So I looked on the computer real quick and I see like what road it's on. And I'm like, oh, that's a straight shot. I'm gonna drive right by it, I'll just go. So I told my partner, my business partner, I said, look, I'm taking a long lunch. I'm going to this temple today. I'll see you after lunch. I get in the car and start driving, and I drove an hour and a half. I was so far from where we were. I had it just didn't occur to me that Berlin might be more than a half hour away. It was so far. But I get there, and I pull into the parking lot, and there's nobody. There's no cars, there's nothing. And I'm like, I just drove an hour and a half based on some crazy thought that I need to go to this temple and I don't know why am I here. But it felt right in my body to go in. So I parked my car, pushed the door, and it opened. And I walk in and then it's about as big as this room, but it's got alcoves. And there's a murti for each and every god and goddess there is. And they've got them all of them. I'm just overwhelmed. Whoa, so like really quickly I do my little gratitude pranam all the way around. I'm like, okay, I'm here, thank you for allowing me in. The pujari's on the floor in the front facing the main deity, and he's got his tray with the fruit and doing prasad and offerings. So I leave him alone. I just sat about 6 feet behind him, not down, and just like total quiet, just being in love. And then after a couple minutes, he like looks at me and he's like, hey, come here. Okay, so I scribble my butt across the floor, I get next to him. And he's like, this is prasad. He's like, here, have. So I'm like, I know what prasad is. He gave me a banana and some candies. So I eat the candy, I start melting. I'm just love it on there. I'm like, this is working out. This is great. I love it. I'm like, well, I'm having this prasad. He turns at me again, like this. And I look at him, he's got his eyes really big, and I'm like, oh crap. And he goes, you, teacher, teach, go. I'm like, holy shit. I like almost knocked my breath out, I'm like, okay, I'm out of here, go, I'll go teach, bye. And I quit my job that week and moved to California like a month later. But that's being in Nite Skool and feeling connected and like I had to get that confirmation one more time from the universe to finally say, okay, I'll teach. Oh my God. Because it's stressful. This is the world's most dangerous job. If you all learn, you all are going to want to learn Nite Skool even if you don't do it this weekend. Because you're going to sleep on it tonight and you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're like, wow, never feel disconnected again. Like, for real, and the other thing is like when you do Nite Skool and you get that connection, you can skip all those rituals. You don't need to light the candles and do you can, it's still fun to do and it still feels good and everything else, but you don't have to do that to get the connection and to get the results and to get all those things. You can just have it. Not because you're connected, but because you're at one. There's nothing better. And when all of you, let's say I come back in a year and all of you have done Nite Skool and we're all sitting in here in Nite Skool, you'll be amazed at what we can do. Like literally, you can just like call things out of the sky. I've never had this many people in a room at once, seasoned in Nite Skool. Because Patrick didn't teach it very much. He taught it 3 or 4 times. I was there for one of them, and he told me to teach it that day. He's like, wow, you got this quick. But I've only taught it as a class. I've only taught it twice before. I've taught people one-on-one. People who've done the Play Shop and My Energy Works and Connection Alchemy, which is a communication class, can learn Nite Skool in about 5 minutes. It's an easy meditation. It's not complicated. You don't need a college degree to learn this. But there's a certain way to break down the barriers. You do it in a particular way, it's safe, and it feels like, oh, this is right. And if you don't follow that particular route, if you skip some steps, it feels wrong. It doesn't quite feel an at-oneness. So there's details that you can get. The reason it's a 5 or 6 hour class on Friday is specifically because it's designed Friday for people who've not done any other class with me. If you've already done some of my classes, you'll get it faster and you might be helping the other students out a little bit, but you will get it really quick. Any questions about Friday?
Is it the same content online as what you're going to teach, or is it more online, or what's it like?
Well, the nice thing about online is you can review it as much as you want if you forget something, but they're the same. The difference is that live, I'm going to answer all your questions. Online I'll answer all your questions too, but you're not getting the answers live. You get them a few days later, or or sometimes when people ask questions online, I'll make a video of the answers to share with everybody. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you could definitely do it online.
Yeah, I mean, I love to do things live, but I also, I don't remember it all. I'm frankly writing notes, so it's nice to go to review it.
You will not need to take any notes. It's better if you don't take notes. Because you know what note taking's about? Note taking's about being in time. Because you're worried about the future. You're gonna get bad. I don't mean to call you out. I'm saying, but in class, like I tell people, look, it's a sabotage to take notes. I'll let you record the class. I just ask that you don't share it with people who haven't been trained. Because the information is triggering. I told you why it's triggering. Because you're going to realize that you've been ignoring your connection for a long time, and it's easy to beat ourselves up for like things we've done wrong. Like, oh man, I could have been connected this whole time. That feeling that's what I help you get over in class. That's what I'm really good at. So if you record it on your camera or on your phone and then share it with a friend, they're going to get triggered, but you might not have the skills, and I won't be around to help them, get past that.
Will you record it on Friday class?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe, probably. I'll probably record it and just add it to the class online for people. So my classes online are all evergreen, which means you pay once, you've got them forever. You can review them at any time. If you do the online Nite Skool, you can get a discount. If you do the live Nite Skool, you get a discount for the online one, but you can't really do the online one until you get through Play Shop and a couple other classes, because of the way it's written. So this information is all included in Nite Skool online. Like you have to already have a really good understanding of high potential and low potential energy, but you don't on Friday. Cool?
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to get there on Friday, but where is it if I did?
Tor View Villa Retreat, which is up Ashwell Lane, and then left at the first street, which there's like a block of homes that sort of goes up the tour a little bit, and it's in there somewhere.
So Google it really.
Or call Siobhan.
Or could we?
Yeah.
And what time is that?
Can you check that?
Noon.
It's at noon.
Yeah.
Noon to 6, I believe. Noon to 6. We'll be taking breaks, and it's not sit down at a desk with a paper and pen. It's listen to Brian and try this meditation and see how you feel. Yeah. Anybody who's not been on the table, like to get on real quick? Are we good? I don't know how our time is. Are we up?
I don't know. Has anybody actually got the time? I'm using that to video. I don't know what time.
I've got 5 to 9.
I've got, yeah, nearly 5
Okay.
to 9.
Oh.
So we have to finish soon. I will say that the bed going on the massage. It's not. You don't have to tell your story. It's really quick.
Yeah. So the way it works is, I find tension in your shoulders. I hold the tension so that you feel it, and then I go to Nite Skool to find out why the muscles tense, and then I tell you why.
I'm in.
Come on up. When you hear why the muscles tense, when your body realizes why it's tense, it also realizes that it's not happening anymore. It's old. And as soon as your body recognizes that it's old, it drops it and it's gone. My healing sessions are typically 5 minutes. And my shortest session, when I asked that girl who's George, that was the entire session. Because she started laughing so hard, her whole body relaxed, there was nothing else to release. That was like my shortest session ever. All right, what's your name?
Ben.
Ben.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Do that.
Good, so let me move this a little bit. Like your shoes.
Thanks, man.
Slick. I'm a little envious. Put your feet at this end, on your back.
On my back.
On your back with your feet at this end. Otherwise your head will fall down a hole.
I should look at my shoes,
Yeah, I'm gonna steal them while you're not looking.
yeah. Sniff them first.
All right, scoot down, get your ankles off the table, just, here, come down this way. Yeah, right there, excellent. All right, so, tuck your shoulder. So what I'm doing is I'm reaching under, what's your name?
Ben.
Ben, okay. Reaching under Ben's shoulder blade to find the tight muscle. That, you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the one.
You gotten tired of looking for what you want?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. There it goes.
Mm.
Okay. Oh, wow. There you go. Were you prevented from getting what you wanted as a kid?
Yeah.
What was it? Like bicycle or
No, it's pretty much anything.
anything?
If I wanted it, I didn't get it.
Ah,
If I didn't want it, I get it.
sounds like a push me, pull you.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, yeah. Say, I can have anything I choose,
I can have anything I choose.
and my choices come to me.
And my choices come to me.
There it goes. Does that feel flat on the table?
So weird.
Drop your shoulder. Has it frustrated you before that what you do doesn't get you what you'd like?
Yeah. Plans don't work.
So that's in the past. We're gonna let your plans work out now. Say, I know what to do to get my plans working.
I know what to do to get my plans working.
Thank you. Feel that muscle?
Yeah, fucking hell, that's weird.
That's not me moving, that's your muscle. There you
That's so bloody weird.
go. That was old stuff, man. That was really old. So you can get up whenever you like. We can do it.
Just can look at it. That's
Yeah,
really
no,
weird.
stay there for a minute. So when we have an issue in our body like that, like I can't get what I want, it's self-perpetuating because it impacts our body language. So if I feel that I can't get what I want, my shoulder's going to be up.
That's released my whole neck.
Yeah. You'll be releasing for a while. So, so if you feel like you can't get what you want, your shoulder will be up like this, and that actually makes it harder for people to give you what you like because they see your shoulder up.
Thank you.
Yeah, you ready? Yep. There you go.
What shoe size are you?
11.
I'll send you a pen. Serious. Thank you very much. I'll send you a pen.
Thank you. All right. We'll be walking around town next year in birds of a feather, huh? If I feel that I can't get a date or the girls don't like me, every time I go to talk to a girl, my shoulder's going to go like this. So it's self-perpetuating, and that happened to me my whole life. So if I ask you, do you want to go get coffee later? It can feel a little innocent, right? You want to go get coffee later? There's no charge there. It's just this guy's asking me a question. If I say, do you want to go get coffee later? And now you feel it in your body, right? This guy's a creep. Hey, do you want to go to the movies? Do you want to go walk in the woods? When we release the tightness, then we can actually get our choices, because then we can look for our choice and not have the body language telling the universe, no, don't give it to him. And that's the big cosmic wheel that we're playing. So.
Can you just repeat that? I spaced out and I'm like, I didn't write it down either.
Do you just do that for that area? Do you do it in the whole body? Or?
I used to do the whole body, but I discovered, and Patrick didn't get this,
Yeah.
our bodies are time machines, basically. And stuff gets buried in the body, but it comes up to the shoulders and stresses us out when we're ready to let it go. When we're ready.
Gotcha.
So the stuff that's deeper in the body, now that your shoulders are released, they can come up and you can release them next time.
Cool.
What I said was that's the big cosmic wheel. The issue creates the body language, and the body language perpetuates the issue. You get rid of the body language, let go of the issue, it's done. Or whatever it is. Cool? Okay, everybody learn something?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I love Brian's stories. I know that